Hello, my name is John. Are you brave enough to face your deepest fears? If so, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling stories. Tonight, we delve into the depths of our deepest fears. Join me if you dare as we uncover 3 terrifying tales of basement horror. Stories whispered in hushed tones, passed down through generations, each one a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. The old Blackwood Manor stood perched atop a windswept hill, a brooding silhouette against the stormy grey sky. It had stood there for centuries, a silent sentinel to generations past, its once grand facade now crumbling under the weight of time and neglect. Inside, the new owners, a young couple full of hope and naivete, were about to discover that some houses are better left undisturbed. They had found the manor at a steal, dismissing the local rumours of hauntings as mere superstition. But the whispers had teeth. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. A faint scratching sound in the dead of night, dismissed as mice. A cold draught snaking its way up from the basement door, blamed on ill-fitting windows. But as the days bled into weeks, the occurrences grew more frequent, more insistent. One evening, while the husband was away on business, I was startled by a crash from the basement. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drum against my ribs. Fear, cold and clammy, wrapped its icy fingers around my throat. Mustering a sliver of courage, I crept towards the basement door. The steps leading down were swallowed by an oppressive darkness, the air thick with the smell of mildew and something ancient, something undeniably unnerving. Each step was a monumental effort, my heart threatening to burst out of my chest. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, echoing through the cavernous house. Sarah froze, her blood turning to ice. It was her husband's voice. Panic seized her. She stumbled back, her mind reeling, her every instinct screaming at her to flee, but she couldn't leave him. Gathering her wits, she began her descent into the darkness. The air grew colder, heavier, the oppressive silence broken only by the sound of her own ragged breathing. At the bottom of the stairs, she fumbled for the light switch, her fingers trembling. The single bulb flickered to life, casting long dancing shadows on the damp stone walls. The basement was a labyrinth of forgotten belongings covered in dust and cobwebs. She called out for her husband, her voice trembling, but only silence answered her. As I ventured deeper into the labyrinth, I noticed something strange. Children's toys, untouched and covered in dust, lay scattered on the floor. A rocking horse stood frozen mid-motion, its vacant eyes seeming to follow my every move. Just when the silence became unbearable, I heard it again. A low, guttural growl emanating from the far end of the basement, followed by the distinct sound of chains dragging across the floor. My breath caught in my throat. I was not alone. Terror lent me a burst of speed. I ran towards the sound, my heart pounding in my ears. As I rounded a corner, I was met with a sight that stopped me dead in my... The old Victorian house on Ashwood Lane had always been shrouded in an unsettling silence. Emily, a young woman starting her life anew, had dismissed the unsettling stillness as the quiet solitude she craved. She would soon learn that some silences are better left unbroken. The basement, a cavernous space with dirt floors and exposed beams, filled her with unease. Every time she ventured down the creaking wooden stairs, she felt a prickling sensation on the back of her neck, a feeling of being watched. One particularly chilly evening, while searching for a stray fuse, Emily noticed something peculiar. A small pile of dirt lay at the base of the old coal chute, as if recently disturbed from the outside. Curiosity piqued, she brushed away the loose earth, revealing a crudely scratched symbol. It sent shivers down her spine. The next day, I found another pile of dirt, the symbol etched deeper into the earth. Fear, a cold fist, tightened its grip on my heart. I tried to rationalize it, to convince myself it was just a prank, but the unsettling feeling persisted. That night, I awoke to a sound that sent icy tendrils of fear snaking down my spine, a soft, rhythmic scratching coming from the basement door. It was a sound that spoke of something wanting in, something desperate to break free. Paralyzed with fear, I lay frozen in my bed, the sound growing louder, more insistent. I told myself it was just an animal, but the rational part of my brain knew better. This was something different, something sinister. Days turned into sleepless nights, the scratching becoming a nightly torment. Emily felt her sanity slowly unraveling, her once peaceful haven transformed into a prison of her own fear. One afternoon she returned home to find the basement door ajar, a cold draught, laced with the smell of damp earth and something else, something distinctly unsettling, wafted up from the dark abyss below. Dread coiled in the pit of her stomach. She knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. Armed with a flashlight and a growing sense of dread, Emily descended the creaking stairs. The air grew thick and heavy, the silence deafening. She swept the beam of her flashlight across the darkness, her heart pounding in her ears. And then she saw it, a figure huddled in the far corner, its back to her, its body contorted at an unnatural angle. It was human-shaped but wrong, as if assembled from mismatched parts. The creature shifted, and I caught a glimpse of its face in the flickering beam of my flashlight. It was a grotesque parody of a human face, pale and gaunt, with eyes that burned with a malevolent intelligence. A guttural growl, primal and filled with rage, erupted from the creature. The old farmhouse stood nestled in a valley, seemingly untouched by the passage of time. The Thompson family, drawn to its rustic charm, saw it as the perfect escape from the city's clamour. They were blissfully unaware of the darkness that lay dormant beneath their feet, a darkness waiting to be awakened. The discovery happened innocently enough. While cleaning out the basement, the youngest son, Daniel, stumbled upon a hidden door concealed behind a wall of decaying shelves. Curiosity piqued, he pried open the door, revealing a set of narrow, cobweb-draped steps leading down into darkness. The air in the cellar was heavy, stagnant, thick with the smell of mildew and decay. As Daniel descended, each step seemed to echo with an eerie, almost mournful resonance. The single bare bulb cast long, grotesque shadows that danced and writhed along the damp stone walls. The cellar was surprisingly spacious, filled with forgotten relics from a bygone era. Dust-covered furniture, rusted farming equipment, and stacks of rotting books lined the walls. And in the center of it all, resting atop a crumbling pedestal, sat a small, ornate wood. The box was beautifully crafted, its surface inlaid with intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and shift under Daniel's gaze. It was locked, but the absence of a keyhole hinted at a more sinister method of securing its contents. Intrigued and perhaps a little foolish, Daniel reached out and touched the box. A jolt of energy, cold and sharp as ice shards, shot up his arm, causing him to recoil in pain. He stumbled back, knocking over a lantern which shattered on the stone floor, plunging the cellar into darkness. Panic surged through him. He scrambled towards the stairs, desperate to escape the suffocating darkness. As he reached the top step, he heard a noise that sent shivers down his spine. A low, guttural growl emanating from the depths of the cellar. Terror lending him speed, he clambered up the remaining steps and slammed the door shut, the sound echoing through the house like a death knell. He didn't tell his family about the box, about the feeling of dread that now clung to him like a shroud. But he couldn't shake the feeling that he had awakened something dark and ancient, something that would not be so easily forgotten. Strange things began to happen around the farmhouse. Objects moved on their own. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, and a feeling of unease permeated the very air they breathed. The family, once full of laughter and warmth, became withdrawn, suspicious of each other and their surroundings. There are some places, some spaces meant to remain untouched. Places where darkness festers and secrets whisper on the wind. Basements, with their cold, damp embrace, often serve as gateways to these unsettling realms. As we resurface from these tales of terror, remember the chills that ran down your spine, the quickening of your pulse, for the darkness is always there, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sleep well, if you can. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling tales. Stay tuned and stay scared.